Jackal could use the Avada Kedavra curse, but he preferred to show off with a sniper rifle. Using a small windmill on the balcony to calculate wind direction and speed, he fired a single shot at the target building to calibrate the bullet's trajectory. After adjusting the sight, he pulled the trigger again. Once confirmed, he aimed his rifle at the entrance of the building, patiently waiting for the president to appear. Known by the alias Jackal, the Englishman Jackal was a mysterious professional assassin. Every mission he undertook involved lucrative assassinations, with his targets often being the most enigmatic and dangerous individuals behind power and wealth. This time his target was none other than the President of France. Jackal waited patiently for the moment the president stepped into the revolving door, seizing the opportunity when the bodyguards let their guard down. With a decisive shot, the President of France became the former president. The scene immediately descended into chaos as bodyguards scrambled to locate the assassin's position with binoculars. Before long, they spotted the reflection of a sniper rifle from a distant building. However, they had no idea that Jackal intentionally stayed in his original position after eliminating the target, letting them find him. Calmly, he disassembled the sniper rifle and carefully packed it away. After erasing all traces of himself from the scene, he left a timed gift under the bed specially prepared for the police. As Jackal drove out of the parking lot, he happened to encounter a large convoy of police cars and anti-terrorism units speeding toward the hotel, sirens blaring. He glanced briefly at the commotion, then calmly drove to another nearby parking lot, switched to a new car, and disappeared into the city. When the anti-terrorism units stormed the hotel room, they discovered the timed bomb under the bed, but it was too late. At the same time, the old car Jackal had abandoned in the parking lot exploded, erasing all traces of him. He was a lone wolf. Outside of work, his interactions with others had dwindled to almost nothing. Living a solitary life in the shadows, he always operated alone in the dark underworld, his appearance ever-changing and his true face a mystery to all. This time his target was the CEO of a tech company. Disguised as a janitor, Jackal effortlessly infiltrated the company premises. However, the life of an assassin is always fraught with unexpected complications. A female employee accidentally caught him attaching a silencer to his gun. The noise of him dealing with her attracted the attention of a security guard, who approached and asked if he had noticed anything unusual. Unfortunately, Jackal didn't speak French. Realizing his cover was blown, he immediately opened fire, killing the guard without hesitation. The director in the office next door rushed toward the emergency exit, but Jackal remained unfazed, calmly taking aim and shooting downward. When the target appeared around the corner, he fired a shot, hitting the director in the leg. The injured director begged for his life. Jackal noticed the director's femoral artery had been severed and he wouldn't survive much longer, so he didn't waste time with another shot. The gunfight in the office revealed Jackal's position and alarms blared throughout the building. Jackal swiftly made his way to the rooftop, tossing a few smoke bombs into the crowd before using a rope to rappel down and make his escape effortlessly. Jackal's career was legendary, full of myth and mystery. No one knew his past and no one dared question his abilities. Some said he was a cold-blooded killer forged in the flames of war, while others believed he was like a jackal born with an instinct for murder. Regardless of the rumors, he always exuded a terrifying calmness, seemingly never displaying any emotional fluctuations. The death of the president had attracted the attention of European countries. A female intelligence agent named Dodd was invited to join the investigation. When she heard that the assassin's shooting position was 3,815 meters away, she was stunned. This was because to date the world record for sniper shooting with a rifle was 3,540 meters, and no rifle was found at the scene, which led to the conclusion that the assassin had brought the rifle with him. The hotel's security cameras had captured Jackal's silhouette leaving the scene. The sniper rifle was clearly disassembled and stored in his suitcase. Dodd requested to check the dimensions of the suitcase. The scope was 737 millimeters long, and the rifle itself was 1 meter long. If it were in the suitcase, part of it would definitely protrude. A hitman capable of assassinating at such a distance would consider the weapon his second life. He would never leave it at the scene. This meant the rifle was custom-made with the barrel split into 2 parts. At this point, a French security officer immediately objected, arguing that a rifle barrel that could be assembled and disassembled was the holy grail of weapon manufacturers, ensuring both accuracy and portability. Such weapons were rare, only a handful of them existed worldwide. However, Dodd had learned from some sources about a gunsmith named Norman Staller who had spent years trying to create this very miracle. Since the assassination in Stockholm in 2018, he had gone into hiding, but Dodd had a way to find him. The gunsmith who crafted the rifle and the assassin who bought it from him. They intended to use this clue to track down the person who killed the president. At this point, Jackal had sold his villa in Germany and crossed the border into the UK. He logged into an underground assassin network at an internet cafe. While waiting for the remaining payment for the president's assassination, he suddenly received a message from someone claiming to be his fan. The person said there was a project that might interest him but couldn't be discussed online and needed to meet in person. Jackal set his price a $1 million meeting fee, with half paid up front and the remaining half paid after the meeting. Whether or not they came to an agreement, the fee was non-refundable. The woman followed Jackal's instructions and went alone to the cabin by the lake. She offered Jackal $10 million to assassinate the leader of an organization. Jackal smiled and said that if the amount were multiplied by 10, they might be able to talk. The woman was clearly shocked by the figure of $100 million. She needed to consult with her superiors. Turning around, she found that Jackal had quietly left. Back at home, Jackal checked his computer and noticed that 24 hours had passed, yet the €375 million payment for the mission still hadn't been transferred. When he inquired with his client, he received a simple no in response. Jackal couldn't believe that someone would dare to withhold his payment. He contacted his bank, and 14 days prior, €375 million had been transferred into his account. Find out the origin of this money. His wife Emma noticed that her husband seemed troubled. Jackal explained that a business partner had failed to meet their commitments, but this wasn't just about money. If word got out that someone had stolen from him and then fled, it would affect his reputation. After listening to Jackal, his wife replied, "Stealing from you is stealing from our entire family. Give me his address and I'll help you get it back." She had no idea about Jackal's true identity as an assassin and thought it was just a simple economic dispute. Jackal quickly declined her offer, not wanting to involve her. Meanwhile, the investigator in charge of the assassination case had contacted her informant named Allison, whose alias was Sparrow. Her ex-husband was the gunsmith named Norman. Only he could create the sniper rifle capable of taking down a target at a distance of 4,000 meters and that could be disassembled and reassembled. Dodd had once saved Allison's life on a previous mission. However, Allison had been facing trouble recently. Her daughter Emma had been involved in a protest where there was a clash with the police and was arrested. Allison hoped that Dodd could release her daughter in exchange for information about Norman's whereabouts. Unexpectedly, Emma passed away in prison due to illness. Dodd had to deceive Allison by first obtaining Norman's phone number before informing the police to release her daughter. At the same time, in a skyscraper in New York, a woman had paid $10 million to hire Jackal for an assassination. Meanwhile, the organization was reporting to their boss. The boss wanted to find the best assassin, but the figure of $100 million clearly exceeded their expectations. However, their target was the wealthiest billionaire in the world, Elon Musk. If they could kill him, paying $100 million would be worth it. Why did they want to kill the world's richest billionaire? This was linked to an upcoming program of his called The Flow. Rumors claimed it could usher in an era of financial transparency and global economic fairness. There were mixed opinions about this. Some believed it could bring about global economic fairness, while others feared it would plunge the world into unimaginable chaos. In an interview, the host asked why the world's richest billionaire was so concerned about economic fairness. Musk argued that everyone should care about economic fairness. Money should flow like water. Right now it flows into the pockets of the rich and stops there instead of flowing into reservoirs for future generations. The only way to break this is through complete financial transparency. Do you want everyone to see your bank account? I have nothing to hide, but there are people hiding a lot of things, and the flow will reveal them. The boss was determined, even if it meant spending $100 million to eliminate Musk before he launched the flow. That day, while Jackal was celebrating his son's birthday with his family, he received a response from the bank. The identity verification of the payment was unsuccessful. They only traced the funds to an account in Munich, Germany. Jackal told his wife that he had work to attend to, but after she dropped him off at the airport, he took his bag and went to a different floor, leaving in a taxi. He arrived at a secret safe house, picked a new passport, and prepared a new identity. However, on his way to the airport by taxi, he was spotted by his wife, who had just bought flowers at the roadside. She immediately called Jackal, but the call went to voicemail, making her start to suspect her husband. In another development, while reviewing the surveillance footage, Dodd noticed Jackal's backpack. Although he had torn off the brand label, when zoomed in it appeared to resemble two mountain peaks. In the footage of the assassination of the CEO of a tech company, it was evident that he used a Browning Bar Mark III handgun with a small 9mm caliber. Clearly he could have chosen a weapon with greater stopping power, so why did the assassin choose a small caliber handgun? After some investigation, Dodd confirmed that the assassin was British. The small caliber Browning Mark III 9mm handgun had until a few years ago been the standard issue for many British military units. The backpack was manufactured by a small startup company in the UK. This backpack, called the Perfect Bag, was released to the market just 8 months ago and was only sold in the UK. Normally snipers have spotters to assist them, but this assassin was different. On both occasions he acted alone. It's likely he had served in the British military. We may be able to investigate the assassin's identity from this angle. On the way, Jackal received a message from the American woman. They arranged to meet at a park, because the sum of $100 million was too large, and this was their first collaboration. They couldn't pay him the full $50 million upfront, but could only offer him $20 million as a starting payment. Jackal thought for a moment and then agreed. He also wanted to retire after completing a few big contracts. The woman requested that Jackal eliminate the target before the 28th of this month, the day the flow is released. If not, the deal would be cancelled. In future communications, she would use the code name Rodin to refer to the target. Jackal disguised himself as his representative and went to the bank to investigate the origin of the €375 million payment. He found out that it came from the corporate account of a company named Hackkey's Enemy. They couldn't reveal their information, but the company's registration details were available online. After researching online, Jackal discovered that the parent company of this firm was Ord, and the person in charge was a man named Halen. In another development, Dodd led a special forces team to raid the residence of the sniper Norman. However, he had already set up a trap that caused heavy casualties for the team. Dodd pursued him relentlessly, firing shots at Norman, but he managed to steal a car and escape. However, after requesting support, Dodd found the suitcase that Norman had left behind in the bushes while fleeing. The contents inside were clearly very important to Norman. Back at headquarters, Dodd was reprimanded by her superiors. They had concealed the girl's death, failing to report it for over 36 hours, which was a violation of regulations. 2 members of the Special Forces team had been killed in the operation. All of this was based on Dodd's assumption that Norman had supplied weapons to the assassin. Her superiors ordered her to cease the operation and halt the investigation. However, Dodd brought the suitcase Norman had left behind to the meeting table, opened it, and assembled the items inside. As she assembled the pieces, she said, "This morning I brought this suitcase through customs. I never thought I could openly carry a sniper rifle through the security checkpoint like this. When passing through the metal detector, there was no alarm. This rifle must be the prototype designed by Norman. The assassin used it to kill the president." Dodd's colleagues went to a special forces unit in the UK specializing in sniper training and obtained a list of excellent snipers who met their requirements. However, when they mentioned they were looking for a sniper capable of hitting a target at a distance of 3,815 meters, the trainer said that he had never seen anyone do that, at least not anyone on this list. Before leaving the training camp, no one had been able to achieve such a feat. In this operation, 2 of Dodd's colleagues died, leaving her as the only survivor. As a result, she was summoned for investigation by the authorities. Although her salary was not low, her family's financial situation was not favorable. There was a possibility that she had been bribed to betray her teammates. In the world of intelligence, anyone can lie, so until a thorough investigation is done, no one can be trusted. After the meeting, her superiors called Dodd aside. There was surely an inside agent in this operation. Otherwise, Norman wouldn't have been able to set up the bomb trap beforehand. Later, when mentioning her father, she was advised to be cautious of people within the organization. She must keep intelligence information secret. Dodd met with her good friend Allison to apologize for hiding the death of her daughter. Allison was deeply saddened. She had always considered Dodd her closest friend. After parting ways with Dodd, Allison returned home. Her husband discovered that she had secretly taken a photo of her phone and revealed Norman's phone number to someone else. Allison planned to run away, but her husband caught her. Emma suspected her husband was hiding something, so when she got home she started searching for evidence. She discovered a safe under the partition in the wardrobe, but didn't have the code to open it. After looking at the house plan, Emma realized there seemed to be a secret room behind a mirror. She immediately called someone for help to find a way in. Jackal, who still hadn't heard about the fire in his backyard, had just received the $20 million deposit from the American woman and had informed her about the whereabouts of the target. She urged Jackal, saying that time was running out and the target needed to be eliminated before the release of the flow. However, Jackal said he still had some matters to take care of in Michigan. Once he dealt with those, he would begin the operation. This time, Jackal disguised himself as a well-dressed driver. He knocked out a driver, put on his glasses, and transformed into a motorcycle taxi driver. His target was a man named Halen. Although Halen was escorted by a large team of bodyguards, Jackal shot the bodyguard sitting in the front seat with a single shot, then suddenly drove into a narrow alley. Receiving a call from his boss, the bodyguards immediately gave chase. The two sides raced through the streets of Munich at breakneck speed. Eventually, Jackal used roadside obstacles to block the pursuers, stopped the car, and turned to face Halen. Halen clearly realized everything. He quickly swore that he would pay Jackal the remaining money and give him any amount he wanted. But it wasn't about the money. Halen tried to break the door to escape, but his hands struck the door like cotton, unable to break it. Halen shouted, "Fuck you, Jackal," to which Jackal calmly responded with 2 words before retrieving clothes from the trunk, changing and throwing a time bomb into the car. When Halen's bodyguards drove up, they were greeted by a deafening explosion. Witnessing all of this from a distance, Jackal turned and walked away leisurely. However, he didn't know that his backyard was on fire and his wife and family had cracked the safe, discovering his secret workshop inside. Looking at the mask molds, passports, and cash from various countries in the suitcase, she was left in shock. Jackal also saw this scene through his phone. For the first time, he found himself facing a difficult choice. Should he go home to put out the fire, or go to America to kill the richest billionaire in the world and collect a $100 million fee? What happens when a hitman's identity is exposed? Jackal shot a police officer in the head and tossed the gun in his hand to the truck driver next to him. Then, under the confused gaze of the driver, Jackal shot him too. Jackal was forced into this situation. It all started when his car accidentally bumped into the rear of the truck. The truck driver refused to let it go and called the police. When the police arrived to inspect the vehicle, Jackal's identity was revealed. He staged the scene as a shootout between the truck driver and the police, so both of them died. The reason he had been distracted while driving was because his wife had discovered his secret workshop. Jackal called his wife and arranged to meet her in Paris, France. He would explain everything to her then. The bald man was preparing to visit a sniper on his list to check on him, but Dodd asked him to text her the address instead, as she wanted to go herself. The bald man explained that he wasn't an insider. Right now everyone was on edge and their superiors had ordered a check of their personal phones and emails. But Dodd clearly only trusted herself. This former marksman had graduated from a sniper training school years ago. Looking at the list, he recounted the situation of each person on it. When he learned that Dodd was looking for a sniper who could hit a target from 3,815 meters away, he said he had never heard of such a person. Even if there was one, it certainly wasn't any of the people on this list. However, he had heard of a legendary figure in the sniper world named Dwan who might be capable of such a feat. However, it seemed that his entire team had died in an explosion during a mission 10 years ago. Dodd did not fully trust his words. She contacted the bald man and asked him to investigate the mission where Dwan had died 10 years ago. Jackal's BMW had been damaged in the earlier collision. Upon arriving at the hotel, he immediately removed the license plates and wiped any traces of himself from the car. Worried that the car might be discovered, he even covered it with a tarp from a nearby vehicle. Jackal then patiently waited for his wife to arrive. He locked his handgun in a metal case and put on his wedding ring. Soon after, his wife knocked on the door and entered. Without saying a word, she slapped Jackal. Jackal confessed that he had lied to her even before they were married, but his love for her and their child was not a lie. He feared that if he told her the truth about himself, he would lose both of them. "What's the truth? What do you really do?" she asked. "I'm a problem solver." "What does that mean?" "When big companies and multinational corporations face problems, they send me to solve them." "Solving problems? You kill people?" No, I don't kill people," Jackal explained. "I work in corporate espionage. It's illegal, so sometimes I have to use false identities. Sometimes I have to bribe people. Many of the people I investigate are billionaires and they're very dangerous, so I also have to use a gun to protect myself." Emma was persuaded by his sweet words but also worried about his safety. Jackal assured her that if she gave him 2 more weeks, he would wash his hands of the business. "Once this job was done, we'll have enough money to live the life we've always dreamed of. Please don't lie to me anymore." There won't be any more lies. At the same time, a US financial mogul was discussing Jackal. Despite having accepted their assignment, Jackal had still killed someone in Munich, making him worried that he wouldn't complete the assassination mission. The woman explained that she understood how urgent the situation was, but she was sure they wouldn't find a more skilled assassin than Jackal. At this moment, there's new information. Jackal killed that person because he didn't pay for the hit. Hearing this, the mogul suddenly changed his perspective. Jackal had returned to Munich, where the police were hunting him down everywhere to collect the unpaid debt. For the mogul, this demonstrated Jackal's commitment to completing the deal. However, to prevent any unforeseen issues, he sent the woman to stay close to Jackal to monitor his progress. In another development, Larry, feeling betrayed by his wife Allison, killed her. He used Allison's phone to text Dodd arranging a meeting. When Dodd arrived, Larry stepped out of the shadows pulling a dagger to attack her. After a struggle, Dodd managed to run along the riverbank. She happened to encounter some passers-by, so Larry didn't dare make a move. Dodd called the headquarters for assistance while luring him towards a bridge ahead. The headquarters contacted Vince, the nearest agent, to help Dodd. Together with the police, they cornered Larry by the riverbank. However, Larry was quick, jumping onto a small boat passing by and escaping. When Dodd and the police arrived at Allison's house, they found her dead. Larry, who was on the run, clearly had no intention of letting Dodd go.